Alright, Far Cry 6 on GeForce Now. When you log in, if you get this warning about the Windows version, just click OK. You'll be alright to play the game. However, there are some features like ray tracing that aren't working on GeForce Now right now. We don't have any updates for that at the moment, but we are being told that in the future these things are being worked on. So what I want to do first is dive into some settings with you guys and talk a little bit about the performance you can expect from Far Cry 6 on GeForce Now. Control Alt F6 if you aren't familiar to bring up your rig up there in the top left. You can see the 2080D, and then Control N if you want to see your network statistics over on the side there. This can be helpful, especially if you're troubleshooting any kind of issues. So let's go ahead and jump over into some settings. I want to talk about these a little bit. There's a ton of options, being that we are running the full PC build here, and you've got a ton in here. They've thought of all kinds of options for vision, hearing, motor, cognitive, and one of the bigger ones for me, motion, because of people having motion sickness, including myself, nausea, eye strain, that type of thing. So there's a lot of settings in here for you for motion. Motion blur, of course, being one I turned off immediately, which you would do for any testing anyway, and most people don't play with motion blur on. So refresh rate 60, Tesla T10 full screen and 1080p, and we are native 16:9 here. For quality, this is it loads up with the default here, and you may want to stick with that, but for testing purposes we're going to do ultra. Anti-aliasing, I'm going to leave on SMAA, even though we could do the TAA option. That's just something that you can mess around with for yourself if you want to on the system. HD textures aren't there. We're being told those are reserved for 4K only in this version of the game, so we're not loading up any HD textures. And then, like I said, down below we've got motion blur turned off, which this setting actually appears a few times depending on where you are. And then DirectX or DXR shadows reflections. Ray tracing is not capable right now on the, I'm guessing it's the OS update that's needing done. And we're not messing with Fidelity FX because I wouldn't do that for performance testing, but this is something that you could play around with. So I want to run a benchmark for you, and the benchmark is not indicative of real world gameplay, especially in this game, and you'll see that when we get into it, because we don't even really dip under 53 FPS during the benchmark here, but during gameplay, you know, I think the lowest I saw was 39 FPS at Ultra. A lot of the times it does do pretty good between 50 and 60 FPS with the Ultra, but what's happening is as usual with these server CPUs, they're just not really great for some of the gaming, and GPU part seems fine, but the CPU is struggling to keep pushing the frames at a consistent rate for the GPU. So when you're in game, you're going to have a lot more fluctuation and stutters in the game. The stutters you see in this video are not from the stream, from GFN or anything like that. The stream is a very solid 1080p 60. It's in-game stutters due to the CPU because I'm running everything on Ultra, and you'll see that in the gameplay when we get into it. But the benchmark is good to see how things are kind of running on Ultra, but it's not really indicative of what we're going to see when we get into things here. So I'm going to get you into some Far Cry 6 now on GeForce Now with the FPS counter up in the top left for you, running from the Ubisoft overlay. And that's about it. I just wanted to go over those settings with you. I do recommend high instead of Ultra, or maybe even the default settings. Cap the game at 60 and work it to where you don't get those stutters or big dips in frames. But running everything Ultra here, you guys will see what I'm talking about. But ultimately, the game looks gorgeous on GeForce Now, and I'm really enjoying it. Thanks a lot for coming to check out the video. As always, guys, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.
Shit, pistol's empty. Need to find that gun. Who's shooting? Better stay quiet.
I swear, the Clarence got to smell. It stink like animals. I can smell it on your clothes. Your sweat. It's distinctly traitor. All rotten on the inside. How did I know you were scavenging for Libertad? I smelled it on you. That's why you died.
I'm not the only one looking for Clara. What's this? Could be useful.
Put that weapon away.
Right behind you, old man. Weapon or not, the military will shoot me on sight here. Guapo, now! Guess this could be useful. What the hell are you going to do with these, Juan?
Men and women of the Yara military. By putting on the uniform,
More shit for one.
made a promise to stand between you and the chaos of Libertad. As your president, I give our soldiers the best training and place only the best weapons in their hands. All for your protection.
This is more like
They swear their oath of loyalty to me. They become warriors of a higher vision.
found all your shit, Juan.
See a soldier
Good work, Danny. Now hurry up already. We need to get back to Clara's camp.
That's what I've been saying.
and thank them for their service.